This is Kits and Wagers. I'm Adam Zdroik, joined by Chris Owen. We're talking game week 36. The graphic is incorrect. I have the wrong graphic in here. So if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter, yes, I do have an old graphic in. I forgot to upload the new one. But Chris, happy Friday. It's high noons and wages for us. What's going on?
Adam, we're not sponsored by High Noon, but maybe we should be. I would really appreciate that sponsorship. Anyways, we're back. Tough start to the show here with the graphic being showing game week 35.
I thought I had it updated, but I didn't.
It was a bit of a rush here to get this done. We got a couple busy Fridays here, so we're just packing in a little time. I just want to note one thing about last week before we quickly get into this week. Arsenal, man, I had that -1.5 Arsenal bet last week. They were up 3-0. I was feeling good. Then what do you know? It ends in 3-2, and I just missed it. It was like +172. That's one of the ones of the season that really makes me mad. But aside from that, Adam, I'm doing well, and I'm ready to get into 4 games here and maybe a little bonus action.
Yeah, last week I think you started 2-0. I started 0-2, and then we both ended up finishing 2-2. So you were headed for a good week. I was headed for a bad week, and then we both finished level. We got I updated the graphic here. We're talking Burnley, Newcastle, Man City, Wolverhampton, Liverpool, and Tottenham. But before we get started here, we have a bonus bet. We got a match in 3 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes. We got the start time for Luton Town are hosting Everton. And Chris, tell us about you gave me the first bet here. So you gave me an exact score here for this bet.
Yeah, I mean, we just looked at this, I feel like it's been a bit since we've had an EPL Friday game, and we essentially just wanted to make like a kind of a longer odds bet here. Part of it is entertainment. Part of it is we just feel strongly about these two teams. Luton Town really, really, really struggling. They have been, they've at least scored, but Everton has been, they're safe. Like, good for them. Everything against them this season, and they've done a great job here at the end of the season to pull out results. They've won their last 4 or 5, I think. The only loss being that 6-0 to Everton, but beat Nottingham Forest at home.
Chelsea,
yeah, to Chelsea. Did I say?
You said to Everton.
Okay, sorry, Chelsea. Yes. Beat Liverpool at home. That was a great win for them. And then beat Brentford most recently 1-0. I think they keep another clean sheet here. I like an exact score, big bet here. I think it's, as a standalone, it's +1100. But when we add it to the Kits and Wagers long odds parlay here, you get a much better odds. But it's exact score 2-0. I think Everton take this one. And Luton, essentially this is kind of their swan song here in the 2023-24 Premier League season.
Yeah, Chris gave me the 2-0 bet, and I put it together in a single game parlay, and we have +5,000 odds here. It's not on the graphic, so you got to listen. You actually got to use your ears for this one. We're taking Everton 2-0, which they've done in some recent games here. Everton over 4.5 corners. Luton Town under 6.5 corners, and Dwight McNeil to have at least 2 shots. That is +5,000 odds. The basis is that kind of what Chris was saying. Luton are struggling. They kind of, they got some guys back from injury, but they just aren't getting. They really haven't done anything in recent games where, they're home against Brentford and home against Wolverhampton last match.
It was away against Wolverhampton.
Okay, away against Wolverhampton. Just both games where spots where you could probably get points, where you're thinking you can get points, and they struggle to get shots. They struggle to kind of do anything. They got Adebayo back last week. Maybe he starts in this one, but that is the bonus bet though. +5,000. Again, that match starts in like less than 3 hours from now. We'll get lineups in about an hour here, but we're talking other matches here. This first game we're talking about is pretty big, I think, when we look at the table. We got Burnley hosting Newcastle, and I got the table here. Newcastle are still fighting for a European spot here. They're 7th place, 1 point behind Manchester United, 2 points ahead of Chelsea. So that's it's an interesting race below the top 4 or 5 teams there. And then Burnley continue to get points. They're on 24 points, which is 1 behind Luton Town and 2 behind Nottingham Forest. So there's still a chance here for Burnley to come away with points. But looking at the odds, we have Burnley are plus 235 to win at home. Newcastle are plus 100. The draw is plus 300. And then if you are looking for goals, we're going to do over 3.5 goals. Seems kind of high here, but plus
Yeah.
20, and then under 3.5 goals is minus 150. That number seems kind of high for a Burnley match, but do you agree?
Yeah, no, I thought the over was a little high for my taste too, but this is actually a good game because this is, as we have 3 games left here in the season, this is one of both of these teams have something to play for. Newcastle, they have an outside shot at getting into the Europa Conference League. I think Europa League is probably I think that's gone for them. But yeah, and I mean, so there's still, I guess they have a very long shot at Europa League, but they're a point off Manchester United in 6th, still have the potential of playing in at least a semblance of European play next season. So they got something to play for, and then of course Burnley, they're sitting 19th in the table, 24th, 24 points. They could eat, 3 points would be huge for them. That said, you look at, I feel like Newcastle's been a little bit better lately. They've coming off a big 5-1 over Sheffield. Sheffield obviously one of the worst teams that we've seen in quite some time. They've given up 97 goals on the season, but they beat Tottenham, and I guess sandwiched in between that is a loss to Crystal Palace at Crystal Palace. But prior to that, beat Newcastle, beat Fulham away. I think this is like I said. For the previous match, I think this is kind of the end of Burnley here. I like Newcastle winning this money line. Burnley, and this is mostly predicated on the fact that Burnley have been very, very poor at home. They have 10 points earned at home this season. They've won 2 matches, they've drawn 4, and they've lost 11 matches at home. So they have not been getting it done whatsoever. So I like Newcastle. I think I got a little same game parlay here. Newcastle money line, which is actually Newcastle money line as a standalone is plus 100, which I also like, but you kind of spice it up a little bit here with an over 1.5 and you get plus 125. Again, Burnley bad at home, Newcastle won 3 of 4. This is one of my bets this week that I feel pretty strongly about.
Yeah, so I actually was looking at Burnley double chance for my bet, but it's minus 125, so I didn't think it was enough to take the double chance there. You're calling out Burnley a little bit. You look at some recent home games, 1-1 against Brighton, 1-1 against Wolves. Yeah. They beat Brentford 2-1. Then you look at some of their recent away ones. They had the 1-1 result against Manchester United, 4-1 Sheffield United. They got a point at Chelsea. They got a point at West Ham. They've been playing better. And I think that, Newcastle's had some positive results this season, but away from home, I'm not entirely sold in them. That's partly why I was looking at double chance here. But instead, because I didn't like that minus 125, I'm just going with corners. Newcastle last season, we talked about it a lot. One of the top teams in terms of corners last season. This season hasn't been the same. Trippier is still going to be out. I know they could be getting some guys back like Joelinton, Nick Pope. Those guys are back in training, but I don't think, they're going to come into the starting 11 after being out for months. Pope's been out for, 3-4 months now. So I don't know if that's going to have any effect on this one, but I'm just going race to 5 corners here. I think that was what I saw the most value. I think Burnley over 4.5 corners was like minus 145 or something like that. So Burnley race to 5 corners. They're at home. And I think you could argue they probably have more to play for here than Newcastle, Europa Conference League, I guess. But maybe at the end of the day, the one thing Newcastle is playing for is that they can finish above Manchester United and Chelsea in the table again. But Burnley raised to 5 corners here, plus 145. I just like the odds here. I've had a lot of Burnley raised to corner bets here, and it doesn't seem like sports books have come around to Burnley just because they're sitting at the bottom of the table. But I've come around to Burnley and Vincent Kompany. So that's what we got.
Nice. I love a plus 145 Burnley bet here on the corners. It should be. I do expect this to be one of the better games of the weekend. I feel both teams playing for something. I think they can fill it up a little bit too. So it's not like we're looking at a Fulham and like somebody else or a Forest playing. So I think this will be one of the better matches too.
Yeah, your Newcastle money line with over 1.5 goals plus 125. It is the same exact bet that you took last week in the first game we talked about,
Yep.
because I didn't have to change the graphic outside of changing Wolves to Newcastle there. Same exact odds as well
And
for
that thing
the
hit too. That thing hit too, though. That was an easy
that
one.
that hit. Well,
It was an
could have
easy
been
one.
easy. It was.
Easy.
I sent you that parlay. I had a parlay last
Yeah.
week that
Yeah.
required, I think, a draw in that match, and that was the only one that didn't hit. It was like plus 8,000 odds or something. It would
Yeah.
have been a good Saturday for me, but Luton Town, I've lost faith in Luton Town is what it comes down to. Kind of what I
I
was
won't
saying.
apologize for my bet hitting and your plus 8,000 parlay missing. Sorry about that.
That's all right. We'll get it back this week. We got this plus 5,000. I'll maybe throw some more in to get to plus 8,000. We do not have a plus 8,000 bet for this Manchester City Wolverhampton match because,
No.
again, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter here, rotowire.com/ betting/soccer, you get the odds up and you can see Manchester City minus 1,100 to win this match against Wolverhampton. Wolverhampton have a 4.5 chance to win, even though they won the reverse leg 2-1. They're plus 2,000 to win. The draw is plus 1,100. And then over 3.5 goals minus 125, under 3.5 goals plus 100. So speaking of Wolverhampton, you got that money line bet on them last week, but they had been struggling. They're struggling a bunch. They're getting some guys back from injury. They could get Cunha in the starting 11, Wang Hee-chan in the starting 11. Pedro Neto has been training, so he could be on the bench in this one. So they're getting guys back. But how much does that matter here? According to the odds, it doesn't really matter for Wolverhampton. They've been struggling a lot the past couple months outside of that win against Luton Town. But you think it matters here, Manchester City, who some would say got outplayed by Nottingham Forest last weekend?
Yeah, I don't think it matters too much. I mean, we've seen this story a bunch. We just know what to expect here. I'm I'm straying away from any match bets, and I'm gonna go on a player bet here. I think I'd like to see just for the. I guess I would prefer neither Arsenal or City to win this league, but um, just for the fact that maybe there's another team that can win this league outside of Liverpool and Man City. I would love for City to drop points here. So I don't think that'll happen. I think City will have no problem getting all 3 points, and we'll probably do it pretty easily too. So um, I'm looking at a Kevin De Bruyne bet here. Kevin has been pretty electric the last couple matches. He's
Kevin.
got four. I guess the past 6 matches that he started, he's got 4 goals, 3 assists. He's averaged 26 shots in 6 matches, 11 shots on target. So they're going. I mean, he's in fine form right now, and he's coming away. Last match, he had 2 assists, 2 shots on goal, three chances created. So he's been great. I originally looked at this game. I was like, let me get a Phil Foden shots on target bet, and then I looked at his odds, and Kevin De Bruyne just has way better odds. It was, I think, Foden was minus 110 to get 2 shots or more on target, which is a bet that I recently took that I believe hit. And then you look at De Bruyne, 2 or more shots for Kevin De Bruyne on target is plus 170. I like that. Like I said, 11 shots on target in his last 6 matches. Given that they are not in the Champions League, I expect to see him back in the starting 11 here too. It's foot on the throat mode here for City at the end of the season, and this one's got a good odds too. So, are you going back to the well on a corners bet, or are you thinking, you like City to just take them out, or what do you got cooking up?
All the odds were just kind of extreme, so I had to change some things up again. I went to shots actually. So Manchester City over 8.5 corners is minus 110. It's just a massive number. They're minus 2.75 corners in the first half, which I considered taking, but that's still minus 120. And this could be one of those games where they're just going to score 3, 4, 5 goals and not actually get corners, kind of a thing. So I kind of strayed away from corners there. So I went with I've done this recently with Arsenal, some single game parlays. I looked again. You told me before the show you did find some odds for some reason. I don't know. The Michigan Michigan DraftKings Sportsbook. I can't find odds on Foden or
Yeah.
Alvarez shots, at
Yeah.
least in the single game parlay. So maybe that's
I have
the
that
reason here.
issue. I have that issue sometimes when I'm in Washington as well. I'm down in South Carolina, so I feel like the app will show you certain
It's only specific players. I don't.
yeah, it's really weird. Yeah, I mean Alvarez is plus 110 for 2 or more shots on target. So, but
Okay. Yeah, I'd probably. I mean, again, this is also. I didn't want to take anyone else because we don't know who is actually going to start. If it's going to
right.
be Holland up front, is Alvarez even going to start? Is Foden going to start in his match back from an illness, kind of a thing? Because he didn't start. He wasn't even in the squad last week, kind of a thing. So I threw in some other things to get the single game parlay here. So I was on the same line of thinking as Chris. I think I mentioned it last week about the odds still feeling kind of off in terms of KDB getting shots. So I got KDB to have at least 3 shots. Chris's is 2 shots, at least 2 shots on target, plus 170. I'm just taking shots, not on target. So Kevin De Bruyne, at least 3 shots with Manchester City first goal with Manchester City money line, and that's minus 120. You could actually probably take like Man City minus 1.5 as well if you're feeling
Mhm.
really confident. You probably get into the plus odds territory there, but that single game parlay is minus 120. So the thing with this bet, I guess, is after I put this together was okay, maybe are Wolverhampton going to get the first goal here? Is this going to be Liverpool? Is this going to be what Wolverhampton had done so many times this season, get that goal off the counter and go up a goal against a big team? You think Wolverhampton could do it this time?
No, I don't think so. I think the Man City money line bet here at home. What is it? It was like minus 2,000 or something crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
1100.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, I don't think Wolves pull it out here. You mentioned I mean it's not like they've been not like they're like in good form too. You know they barely beat Luton Town on a bet that hit for me. But like prior to that, loss at home to Bournemouth, lost at home to Arsenal, drew Nottingham Forest, like lost to West Ham. They're not in great form right now. So I think this is like an easy kind of walk in the park 2-0 for City.
Yeah. Yeah, if Wolves keep them out, I don't hate like a corners bet here, but
Yeah,
decided to opt against it this one. But we
that's fair.
have the third match we're talking about. We have Liverpool are home against Tottenham. These odds, they seem like a lot given what's going on with Liverpool, but Tottenham are playing much better. I'd say Tottenham just lost 2-0 at Chelsea on Thursday. So we got Liverpool minus 225 to win. Tottenham are plus 500 to win. Seems like a pretty big number there. The draw is plus 450. And then again, we're thinking a lot of goals here, according to the odds. We have over 3.5 goals is minus 150. Under 3.5 goals is plus 120. Let me look at both teams' to score here on this one because I saw this minus 270. Okay,
That's crazy. That's
I
crazy.
think both teams to score in Thursday's game. Maybe I'm getting this wrong. I think it was minus 390 or something like that. I think it's something crazy like that against Chelsea, which is one of the highest numbers I've ever seen in the Premier League. This one's only minus 270, so maybe I'm misremembering that number from yesterday. But either way, goals are expected for Liverpool Tottenham. So what do you think? Liverpool back at home, is this a spot where they can win, or is Tottenham, Thursday to Sunday turnaround, is that going to be too much for a team that doesn't really rotate that much?
Let me just preface this match by saying I feel like I've lost my joy for the game in the last 2 weeks. I'm in like football in purgatory. I think Tottenham fans probably feel like that too. I was talking to a Tottenham friend, and I was like, I don't even know if I'm excited for this match. It only offers it doesn't offer much joy, and it offers even more hurt. You know, if they don't come away with a result. So it just feels like as a fan, one that I wish I could avoid, that they would just end the season now, but. But here on Kits and Wagers, we can't end the season on game week 36. We got to keep on put some bets down. So Liverpool coming off a draw against West Ham 2-2 recently, and a loss to Everton. That was one of the worst performances I've seen in a long time. Tottenham They got outworked by Chelsea. Chelsea did the double on Tottenham this season, which was kind of interesting. But yeah, neither team playing great. I do love this matchup because it's going to be entertainment. Like two teams that are simply incapable of playing good defense. I feel like so. I am all over a high goal bet. You mentioned I think you had to is plus odds at 3.5. I think, or is it you have to go to 4.5 on the?
No, you got to go to 4.5. It's minus 150 for over 3.5. Yeah.
Yeah. So I coupled a little same game parlay again here. I've got Liverpool at home, been the best home team all season. This is a bit of a homer bet, so take it for what it is. But they have the most points at home, so take it for what that is. Over 3.5, and you couple those together, you get plus 105. We look back at some of these previous results between these teams, and there's goals, there's action, there's a lot of good stuff. There's late heroics, so. I don't love this one, but I gotta stick with it. And then if you want a secondary bet that I actually kind of do like quite a bit, it's Tottenham first goal. It's plus 185.
I was just gonna say I almost like Liverpool first goal in this one.
Do you? I mean, you don't get good odds though. You get first goal is minus 270. I mean, look at every single recent match that Liverpool's played in. Like West Ham scored first, Everton scored first. I think Liverpool might have scored first. Yeah, they did. And then Castagna scored for Fulham. Like Palace obviously scored first. Like they're giving up goals right away. Just consider it.
Yeah, I was just looking at these Tottenham matches where it was they barely did anything in the first half against Chelsea. I looked back at it. I thought it was only one shot, but they ended up having 3 shots in the first half. They got the 4-0 loss at Newcastle. They started 3-0 down against Arsenal and allowed an early goal against West Ham, though I guess they did score in the 5th minute in that one. But I don't know. I almost went with the under. I almost and I was like, I don't know if I can do that. I know these teams are struggling, but under 3.5 just seems like a hard bet to take. I guess what I'll say. Just looking at I mean, I pull up their results, and 3 of their last 4 have actually been 3 goals or fewer. So you can look at it like that. I almost went to under 3.5, but it's so hard to take. But I think so. You think this is going to be up and down, probably, just with
definitely. I mean, aside from they're pretty much most teams have both these teams are pretty fit. I think Liverpool are still missing a couple guys. I guess Van Dijk picked up an injury, which would be a huge miss.
I'm
but
pretty sure he's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Udogie is a big miss for them. But that's kind of about it. And then Van Dijk.
Yeah, Emerson's been playing it.
Yeah,
because Ben Davies got hurt.
They're mostly fit, and I think I don't have a sense for Tottenham really, but I'm interested. It'll be interesting to see if Salah comes back in the lineup. I imagine he does.
One would assume so. Mm-hmm. So along those lines, I went to corners instead of going to the one side because this one could go any number of ways. We saw in the Arsenal Tottenham match. We saw in that Chelsea match, even though Tottenham went down a couple goals. I think they finished with 9 corners in that game. They put it on in the second half there as they're down a couple goals. I'm just going a bunch of corners. So thinking up and down, both teams can get corners pretty much against anyone. So this is a big number, but I think we're getting I don't know, 15, 16 corners possible. So over 11.5 corners is minus 110. And actually, I like doing both teams to have over a certain amount of corners. Let me see what kind of odds we can get for both teams over 4.5 corners. That's, if you put that together in a single game parlay, that's plus 210. Both teams over 3.5 corners is minus 110. So there's a couple more I like. I don't hate the both teams over 4.5 corners at plus 210, because if it's going to be the bird dirt, it's going to be back and forth, and assuming one of these teams doesn't go up 2-0, 3-0 kind of thing, I think both teams will be getting corners. So something like that, I think is a definite play if you don't want to just simply take the over 11.5 corners at minus 110.
I like the bet. I think the over corners makes sense here. We're going to see an attacking match here with probably a fair bit of back and forth, and I think both teams, it's not like they're going to sit and we know Tottenham's not sitting in. We know Liverpool probably are not either. So I like the chance of over 11.5. Pretty big number, but I like where your head's at here.
Chris's single game parlay, Liverpool money line and over 3.5 goals plus 110. And now we have the team parlay. Chris, last week, what was you had a Man City bet. What was that bet?
I think it was Man City over 2.5 and money. It was between two. I almost took them over. I had two bets and one of them hit. The parlay didn't hit. I had Man City over 2.5. I had that match at over 2.5 goals was plus 115. I took it because I like the odds better. But also in the same vein, I was like, just take the Man City over 1.5 as a team, which hit because they won. I think it was 2-0. And that was minus 115. So I did miss that one, but it was, should have been better.
Yeah, that was. I'll say I got kind of lucky on that because I took Man City. I originally had like Man City minus corners in the first half or something. I ended up taking Man City over 3.5 corners in the first half. So they had 4 corners in the first half. Wolves or Nottingham Forest at 3, and then the second half they both had 1 corner. So I got away with over 3.5 corners there. They got some corners early, managed to get one just before the end of half, but that was a crazy one. So this parlay, we got a couple different bets. I'm looking at Monday's game between Crystal Palace and Manchester United. Chris has an Aston Villa Brighton match. Aston Villa lost at home 4-2 against Olympiacos on Thursday. So a quick turnaround here. They got this Sunday match at Brighton, and then they're in Olympiacos on Thursday again. So quick turnaround here, but what are your thoughts on Villa?
Yeah, I was initially tempted. I love this match too. Another fun one in the same vein as that Newcastle Burnley match, which both should be pretty watchable. I was initially on the Aston Villa money line at plus 145. Really good odds there, but you look kind of back at what Brighton's done this season at home, and I was like, I better not take them at home. Or bet against them at home. They've only lost 3 times at home, and 2 of those have come pretty recently against Arsenal and Man City. So I was like, I don't quite like that one, but I do think Villa are going to be able to find the back of the net once more. They've done it pretty well. Ollie Watkins has been great this season. I like Villa for my end of the parlay. I like over 1.5 goals at minus 120. So a little light there, but I think they find the back of the net at least twice.
Yeah, that was one of the bets I was looking at I was looking at that match for my article, and I actually was looking at the under, but I just couldn't take an under with this Aston Villa team. Brighton's only goal in April was the Aro Muric for Burnley, the one that was a back pass that he let go under his foot. That was Brighton's only goal in April. There's a lot of jokes going around Twitter about here's Brighton's goal of the month. That Muric clip was going around a little bit this week, which was kind of funny. Brighton just in a difficult spot right here, closing out the season. A lot of injuries. They kind of haven't really come around. And then you got this Aston Villa thing. So a tough match here to project exactly how it's going to go. But Chris is going with the Aston Villa over 1.5 goals. I'm going Crystal Palace. They are at home against Manchester United. This is a Monday match, so you gotta wait a little bit if you do this parlay. But so I wanted to do something in this Crystal Palace match because Manchester United. I guess that's all I'm going to say there. But Manchester United still dealing with a bunch of injuries. Casemiro playing center back, that kind of a thing. Crystal Palace have been playing really well. They had some really good home results: 5-2 West Ham, 2-0 against Newcastle, 1-1 against Fulham last match. They didn't have Eze, but he's going to be back. They could get Mark Gahey back in this one. Looking at some recent games, they had. If I get these numbers correct, I think they had 18 shots home against West Ham. They had 20 shots home against Newcastle. And in terms of shots allowed, Manchester United have continually been one of the worst in the league. And we're getting plus 100 odds for Crystal Palace to have at least 18 shots in this match, which I think is a pretty good number here. I'd go up to, if you really wanted to, I'd go up to 20. If you wanted to go crazy, go 21, go 22. Put together parlays where assuming Eze is back in the starting 11, put together parlays with Eze 4+ shots, Olise 3-4+ shots kind of thing. Put together some kind of single game parlay, maybe Crystal Palace money line, maybe if you want to be safer, double chance, something like that. But they've been playing really well. They're at home, Manchester United. They just want to get to the end of the season. They kind of want it to be over. Eric Ten Hag's days are all but over here. So Crystal Palace, at least 18 shots against Manchester United. That's plus 100. Combine that with Aston Villa over 1.5 goals at Brighton. And we're getting plus 263 odds on the single game parlay here. So what do you think about Crystal Palace here?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this last week, but I'm just a big fan of when they have Eze and Olise in the starting 11, and United are kind of I stopped betting on them after I missed like 3 in a row. But yeah, I like. I think with Eze, Mateta, and Olise in the lineup, they arguably have a better attack than United does, and I think they keep the pressure on them up front.
Yeah, you just look back at that Newcastle match where Crystal Palace just kind of clobbered up anything Newcastle did. Newcastle arguably just a better defensive team than Man United, more stable, I guess you could say. Don't want on the road, maybe neither team is entirely stable, but I just like this spot for Crystal Palace, and we got under the lights as well, Monday Night Football for them. So that is a match I will be looking at Thursday for a couple different options there. But that's what we got here. Game week 36. And let's check out the cheat sheet. RotoWire.com/soccer trial. That is a 48-hour trial. And on this cheat sheet, this FPL cheat sheet, we have odds. What else do we like here? Manchester City leading the way. Arsenal leading the way. I feel like I did something similar like this 2 weeks ago, and that was when that might have been when Liverpool lost and then Arsenal lost, something like that. But Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool are the 3 biggest favorites, all at home for this game week. Any other match standing out to you here?
I mean, we talked about the 2 matches that I really want to watch, and that's Newcastle, Burnley, which I'm excited about, and then I'm just intrigued by Villa as well. So mostly just kind of locked in those. I will be, as always, tuned in on Sunday for Liverpool, Tottenham, but I think the joy has been taken out of it for me.
What are your thoughts on this? I think I wrote up a bet. I have an article coming out, another betting article on this Nottingham Forest match against Sheffield United at Sheffield United. So Nottingham Forest in a massive spot here against 17th in the table. Sheffield United are done, but Nottingham Forest a lot to play for. How do you feel about this one?
I would love if Sheffield, had a little kind of upset here, and point of pride for them too is get a couple points. But after the nonsense that we saw from Forest on Twitter, fair play to them. Those are probably penalties, but I just, I don't. I'm kind of more rooting for Luton to escape the drop here. So more of like I guess mini fan of Luton, and I wouldn't mind Forest kind of falling off. So yeah, go Sheffield, I guess.
I've turned around and I'm on Burnley here. Burnley is the team I'm back in here, even though Vincent Kompany, he's not very good at his press conferences, which is annoying when covering injuries. But Burnley, I think Burnley are the team here that I want to stay above. But it might come down to what Nottingham Forest do in this one. I had a bet in the Sheffield United Brentford match. I think it was like over both teams to score or something. They lost that one 2-0. But if you look at some of these Sheffield United at home games, 3 goals against Fulham, 2 goals against Chelsea. They're playing a little differently to close the season. Goal against Burnley. I think I think we could get a little more back and forth here than what you'd expect from these 2 teams if it was like, I don't know, early in the season kind of thing. I think we can get both teams to score. I think we can get corners for both these teams. Can Sheffield United get a point? I don't know about that part because they're allowing 5 goals to everyone, but I think it should be a fun one. That's what is this, Saturday? Yeah, Saturday, and the 3 games at the same time. So yeah, should be. Let me just double check in here. Yeah, Saturday we also have the Brentford home against Fulham. Nothing really in play there, and then Burnley home against Newcastle. So Burnley and Nottingham Forest at the same time. So that's going to be fun little I don't know, Saturday appetizer, I guess you could say, in that early sway. But Chris, that's all we got here for crits and wagers. We got 2 more game weeks left. Man, it's already May 3rd. You can find Chris at CHRON8 on Twitter. I'm at Zdroik. Make sure to follow RotoWire Soccer. Thank you for watching this show. Let's win some bets here. We also, don't forget, we had that plus 5,000 single game parlay.
What a fun one.
In case you're listening to the end of this before that match in 2 hours. But I'll say right now, our bet hit. So congrats to us on the plus 5,000 bet. Congrats to Everton on the 2-0 win. Just cranking out those Jordan Pickford clean sheets. So shouts to the Toffees there. Congrats on your staying above relegation is what I'll say. But Chris, thank you. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see everyone next week.
Thank you, Adam.